All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have no more of these.
Amen, amen.
Gee. I kind of.
This is way over the edge. Like we it's not even over the edge. We died already.
This is beyond the event horizon. Like we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think that the useful thing about Trump is that he can package the dismantling of American empire as the building of American empire. That's what he's doing. Because you have to sell to your demographic. And Americans are not the most mature, the most realistic, the most responsible people in the world, the most well-acquainted with history and so forth. So you cannot possibly sell America's necessary downsizing and the managed erosion of America and the hollowing out of America. As you know, we've made a lot of bad choices for a very long time. And we've only ever really made short-term plans for the future. So it turns out that there's a lot of unavoidable, necessary changes that have to be made at your expense. You can't really sell that to the American public. You can't tell the American public that consequences are a thing. That demographic of political consumers simply cannot compute a message like that. Because look, what Trump is going to do, what he is doing, and what he will do, these are all things that were going to happen anyway, with or without him. He's just the one who's selling it to you as a good thing. That's his job. You know, he's like the guy at a company who's designated as the one to deliver the bad news to you that you're going to be let go. And you designate him for that job because he has a way of presenting it to you. He has a way of presenting to you, you being fired as the greatest opportunity of your life, you know? All the new horizons that you're going to be able to pursue and so on. That's Trump. That's Trump's job. You know, America has been stuffing balloons up their sleeves for a very long time and telling everyone that they're muscles. But now even the balloons are deflating. The great American hoax is over. And Trump is there to oversee the dismembering of American empire. The U.S. is going to be isolated. It's going to withdraw. And it's going to be non-competitive globally. And like I said, this is all unavoidable. This would have happened with or without Trump. You've simply come to the end of your life cycle as a hegemonic superpower. And the decay and the decomposition that will follow is just part of the natural process. Trump can't be blamed for that, and he can't be given credit for any of this. But his job is to make you think that none of it's happening, even while it's happening right in front of your face.
How you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
Well, negotiations, right? Politics.
And we're out of time. So you.
Hey, y'all, gravity. Any day above ground, live it.
I'm back.
Oh, we gotta talk. Oh, we gotta talk. Shout out to Shaheed Bolson for that quick little opening. Yeah, they out there dancing while America burns. A lot of things happened this week that you may not have been privy to, but we here for you. We here for you. We got deals trying to be made. My old lady walked in the house right when I'm about to say that we are about 2 weeks away from being in war in South America. Oliver North is going to be revisited. Yes. She just looked at me. She think I'm lying. Oh, they out there, they admitting it, family. We're about to go to war in South America right before Christmas. Isn't that going to be great? The Great Christmas War. Is that going to be wonderful? Are you ready? I think you are.
And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense.
I told y'all, what did I tell y'all earlier this year about the military industrial complex? And what did I tell you was the fastest way to get out of a recession and to put some money in the coffers? You have a war. And you're going to love it. But anyway, we're going to go over all that. And we're going to have fun. Shout out to Mo.J. I was just on his live talking about the hurricane. Now we over here. The hurricane has made landfall in Jamaica. It is bad. Montego Bay is about to get smashed later today. And so we're going to keep our eye on them. And, you know, prayers to Jamaica. All right, so let's begin. And you know how we're going to begin. We're going to see who's in the building. Miss Nisi, hello. Gamers Den, hello. Wallow J, hello. Reparations Nation, hello. Cosmo Fury, hello. SD Johnson, hello. Nini, hello. Bert, hello. Rosalind, hello. For those who haven't said anything in the live chat or comments, hello. You dropping the link, I want to ask you some questions. We can drop the link later. We could do that. But let's begin. You know how we have to begin.
Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now go.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
I guess we should just begin with this because I was told there was going to be all this winning. This is what I was told. Winning. I don't see no winning. Now, they're going to tell you this is usual Q4 end of the year layoffs. This is what they told us. Except this has been going on all year. If this is winning, I want to see losing because we might have a better shot. Fam. They put out reports. Now, I've been looking at this, and thank God for this account because I had them spread all over the place. Remember how back in February, the CEO of Ford was running around saying how great tariffs were? We played this on the channel, and we were laughing because we knew it was an out-and-out lie. And I told y'all that he was going to find out the hard way that it's not as solvent as you think it is. And then months later, he came out and said, what? Yeah, the tariffs are biting us and all of our profit is gone. And we may have to start closing factories. How 5 months just changes that quick, your outlook. So these are recent layoff announcements. Now, if I remember correctly, this is the last 60 days. UPS, 48,000 employees. Amazon, up to 30,000 employees. Then this one just came out, I want to say yesterday. I heard rumblings of it on Friday, but I saw something when I went to work yesterday. Yeah, Amazon's laying off up to 30,000 employees. Intel, 24,000. Nestle, food, 16,000. Accenture, 11,000. And for those who don't know what Accenture is, Accenture happens to be a headhunting firm, especially for graduates, recruiters. 11,000. Job market ain't that great, huh? Okay. For the aforementioned, 11,000. Nova Nordisk Tech, 9,000. Microsoft, 7. Price Waterhouse Cooper, 5,600. Salesforce, 4,000. Salesforce is big, especially in the IT sector. Paramount, 2,000, even though now they're trying to merge. They just had the merger with Skydance at Paramount. Okay. We already know every time there's a merger, people going to lose their job. We understand that. Kroger, 1,000, coupled with all them stores they closed, 1,000. Applied Materials, 1,444. Meta, 600. So all in all, if we add all this up, this is at least, I want to say, at least these first 6. This is 140,000 jobs right here. Close to, because Amazon, they said up to. So the first 6 are 140,000 people are out of work. And then you add this is probably another something over 200,000. 200,000 people are out of work. Yeah. But he can go to Malaysia and dance. Oh, y'all didn't hear that? You didn't see it? Yes, you saw it. You seen it. The prostitute Instagram model president was out there dancing in Malaysia, a BRICS-aligned country. Oh, you thought I was lying.
You know, let me go here. There's a concern.
Here's your world leader. This is the man that's running the free world. Must be nice.
Get to work!
Because nothing screams masculinity than getting off an airplane as a world leader and you start dancing. He reminds me of them white folk that go to Africa and start dancing with the people that be waiting at the airport. This is shameful. And I would end it there, but did you know he did it again? Oh, yeah, he did it again. In front of our troops, no less. This is this prostitute. We just gonna call this the OCGFC slide. That's what we gonna call it.
What the hell?
This is the man that was gonna bring us into the golden age of America. This is what we were told. Look at this. All right. Don't worry, we're gonna get to AOC. She's second half. I got a lot to say about AOC, but I want to get Trump out the way first. We got to talk about a fraud. A fraud has been committed. And with the fraud being committed, it would be wrong of us not to explain what this fraud is and talk to folk and tell folk how bad the fraud is.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in
Wait, Wilson.
I've been waiting so long to rip this scumbag apart. You don't understand. It's going to be a good Tuesday. And there was another post that he put up that I really got to get at him over. Bam. Scott Pressler, this fraud, this big old Fabio looking Charlie Kirk in the face fraud. This man grifted off the fact that he helped MAGA get Pennsylvania and he thinks this bought him some cachet. Sir, look at what you're writing less than a year later. If Republicans don't turn out in big numbers this November, the people that celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination win. First off, he didn't get assassinated. How did that coon Chris Rock say it? Malcolm X was assassinated. No, he said Martin Luther King was assassinated. Malcolm X was assassinated. John F. Kennedy was assassinated. That piece of crap got shot. We just gonna call it what it is. But you big Fabio looking fraud, you and Brandon Straka, you guys are lethal frauds. Let me explain something to you, Scott Pressler, because I guess you don't understand how politics really works. You can sign up the whole goddamn state of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, wherever you're going to go grift to next. Now he's talking about he going to go grift to Indiana. You still need to push the policy. And I watch you do these events. You're just switching people from Democrat to Republican. That means nothing. That is not going to change the policies that these politicians, all them frauds, are going to tell you how they're going to fix these states, these districts. You cannot put national political stances in a state or local election. It doesn't work. You guys are over there trying to push puzzle pieces into holes they don't belong. And you're going to get pissed off that the picture's messed up. You are a joke, sir. Look, and as Brother Torian always says, the foundation of everybody's grift is the degradation of Black people, especially Black Americans. Why is this your banner? And why are you so worried about what Democrats are not doing when you should have the opportunity, since you have all this supposed clout, telling Republicans that they should be helping Black people? Why don't you tell these Black folks that you want to help prop up, and these white folks you want to help prop up, and these Asians and Hispanics that are over there on the right? Why don't you have them go talk to Black folks, not in barbershops? Host these town halls. Y'all got the money. Go rent a theater out. Have nothing but Black folks in there and have conversations, those hard-hitting conversations. We know why. Because the real ones would show up in there and start asking you them hard questions, and then you're going to run out like those Republicans were doing in their home states and districts when them farmers started asking them questions. You fraud. Look, this is so important. You have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to defeat 3 Democrat Supreme Court justices in one election. Pennsylvania, flip over your ballot to fire your judges, because the rest of the state is going to listen to you. By the way, keep a pin in Supreme Court justices. Keep a pin in that. He more worried about early voting than having his president said early voting is no good, but you still pushing it. I told you this is a grift. Mom and Dad, I'm on television. They don't want to save the country. They just want to be celebrities. Oh my God. And they put a cut and paste. They put a cut and paste Fox News female reporter to talk to you. All right.
Great to see you 1 week out. So let's start in New Jersey, where early voting started on Saturday, and more Democrats have come out to vote than Republicans so far. Here are the numbers. 68,000 Democrats cast early in-person ballots compared to over 63,000 Republican ballots so far. So what is your takeaway when you see those numbers?
Republicans do not, I repeat, do not go out and do early voting. You know that. Did you not watch what happened in 2022 in Georgia? Did you not see what happened? Stacey Abrams had a hell of a lead until people went to go vote, and then at night it flipped. That's how it happens. Republicans do not do early voting because their stupid president told them not to trust it. They don't even understand that Trump is leading them to destruction. They don't even understand it. But, you know, we're going to let them have it.
Get to work! Well, Republicans, you need to get out and vote. Yes,
look at the shoes.
We are matching the Democrats 68 to 63. However, we should be winning early in-person voting right now, and the Democrats also have a big lead in the vote by mail. So if Republicans actually want to elect Jack Ciattarelli as the next governor, well, you have until November 2nd to vote early in person, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. No excuses. Sunday,
now he trying to, you hear him.
PM. You have so many opportunities, so get out and vote today, early in person. Type into the internet, New Jersey, early in person. It has all 21 counties and the places that you can vote.
Okay, and then we just showed the poll numbers. Micah Sherrill at 50%, Jack Ciattarelli at 45%. Do you view this as a 5-point race?
Listen, the only poll that matters is Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. And you said it yourself. They are pulling out President Obama last minute.
Do you think that matters? Do you think that will help Mikey Sherrill?
I think it shows the Democrats are scared.
No. Oh, God. Oh, my God. So explain how they're bringing out Democrats to go help Winston Sears in Virginia. Sounds like the Republicans are scared. But again, that's the play. They're showing you in real time that the Democrats are coalescing behind each other ahead of 2026. They're also showing you, MAGA, that they're getting together to defeat y'all next year. Okay, since he doesn't understand this, they brought Obama outside to help this chick, right? They're flying in Democrats to boost up Winston Sears because they don't like Spanberger. And you still don't see the play. Okay. We know you're dumb. You're going to find out when we do purple mode next week. You're going to find out how bad it really was.
Why would they be investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars last minute in these campaigns unless they felt that their candidates weren't going to win? Republicans have momentum. We have the energy at our backs. But I want to remind viewers at home, 84,000 voters decided 2021, 600,000 Republicans stayed home. Republicans, vote early.
Well, there is some reporting over concerns among Democrats with Black and Hispanic turnout for Mikey Sherrill. Is that something that you're seeing on the ground?
We are. I want to give a shout out to my team, especially in Passaic County. Passaic is where we have our beautiful Hispanic and Orthodox Jewish community. This is a majority minority county that voted for President Trump for the first time since 1988. And Jack Ciattarelli, I was just with him with Puerto Rican Governor Jennifer Gonzalez Colon. And let me tell you, the Puerto Rican community, Boricuas for Jack Ciattarelli, Dominicanos for Jack Ciattarelli. We are courting the Hispanic vote.
So put on the full armor of God, Jesus Christ. I love you, God. Hell, a true Jesus Christ.
Conservatives, let me holler at y'all. Why is your man making this about race? Oh, you didn't hear it? We'll play it again. And he was happy to say it. Spoken like a white liberal.
With Puerto Rican Governor Jennifer Gonzalez Colon. And let me tell you, the Puerto Rican community, Boricuas for Jack Ciattarelli, Dominicanos for Jack Ciattarelli. We are courting the Hispanic vote.
Identity politics. Well. I thought that was a bad thing. Were we not told you should not be doing that? It should be about policy. We were told this.
Jesus Christ. Is this a joke? Huh? Are you joking right now?
This is what I was told. I mean, y'all can tell me if I'm lying. This is what we were told, correct? Oh, okay. Shouldn't be about color. It should be about the policy. We're all Americans. All right.
Good. Well, you mentioned the Orthodox Jewish vote, and there was news made yesterday because for the first time in New Jersey politics, Orthodox Jewish leaders across Ocean County have united behind Jack Ciattarelli.
Yes.
Tell us why this is such a big deal.
Well,
anybody want to peep the game? Remember what I said about Zoran Mandami a couple months ago?
2021, the Jewish community kind of got behind lockdown Phil Murphy. And again, that race was decided by 84,000 votes. In Ocean County, which is red, but we need big, beautiful turnout, the fact that the VOD is endorsing Jack Ciattarelli and you're seeing the Jewish community there getting behind him, that could be the difference maker. But again,
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
So wait, again, identity politics. We're now talking about Jewish people. I'm not hearing any policy that makes Jack Ciattarelli a good governor. I haven't heard about Cheryl. You trying to court folk and you still haven't told me one good thing about this man. But we gonna griff on to, well, how about the black folks? We got Boricuas and Dominicans for Ciattarelli. We got the Ocean County Jewish community. Huh?
vote early, in person, today through November 2nd. Jack Ciattarelli for governor.
Okay, so we have to leave it there, but really quickly, I know you have some notes on an important
Yes.
race in Pennsylvania. So quickly, what's your message there?
So please, Pennsylvania, I need people to flip over their ballot to fire Judges Dougherty, Donahue, and Wecht. Today is the last day to request a mail-in ballot. If you're not going to be home on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, please go to vote.pa.gov, request your mail-in ballot today, and you can vote in person last day today.
Scott, you're a busy man, and I know this next...
Now, let me tell y'all something. If they lose Jersey and Pennsylvania, that Pennsylvania judges race, boy, that's all I'm gonna say. Boy, they finna kick you out of MAGA. But remember when I said that he Scott Presler got no power over there in MAGA. But I get it. He grifting. I get it.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Do you see this? Now, this was yesterday. He wrote, if Jack Ciattarelli is going to win this, we need higher early in-person numbers in New Jersey. Democrats are currently beating us in early person voting. That's not good. So somebody asked, what is wrong with people? Why are they not getting out and voting early? That's what I said, because it's not election day. Stop pushing early voting, Scott. We in New Jersey know to vote day of. We do not want to give anyone advanced knowledge of how many votes they need to fake to beat us. Early voting and mail-in ballots are the enemy of the people. Okay, sure. When the machines go down on election day and Republicans can't vote, please don't blame me. The script is beautiful. That's all I'm going to say. The script is beautiful.
What the hell was that?
He out there forecasting machines going down, so he'll have a built-in excuse. Shame. What a shame. We just knock him off the block, boy. I love it. If we could take, listen, if Scott Presler could get knocked off the board, I mean, it'd be great. I just need this on November 4th. That's what I need. Him in them high heel shoes he had on. What a joke. But anyway, fam. That was Scott Pressler, that joke. Let's start to have fun. They out there, they crying. I know, MAGA, I know it's tough. You found out that you've gotten nothing out of your vote. Nothing. Now you see what black folks go through, and you don't like it.
Be quiet! Shut up!
That's how we feel. Because we got this here.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
I bet y'all would never guess what you're about to listen to. Does anybody want to take a guess? Before we start, I think this would be hilarious. All J said Candace, nope. I figure y'all probably not gonna get it. Candace getting roasted. Fake them. He got enough problems. Bowling. Oh, Bowling Ball Martin. Jeffrey Mead. Oh no, I'm doing a video on him. That's for next week. He finally got to get cussed out because he's just retarded. Tiny Terry and Pancakes. That motherfucker been quiet, boy. Greg Forehead. Hey, he over there thirst trapping on some white boy thing. Oh, the humiliation ritual is out there, boy. He finna lose his channel next year. You heard what I'm talking about. Amir Odom. Oh, JD getting divorced? Nah, y'all not gonna get it. But let's get after it. Two people that we rarely bring up on this channel got to talking with each other, and it sounded like cope. It sounded like hella cope. I'm sorry, and we got to play her because it was bad. Be prepared to listen to 2 minutes of some of the worst things you've ever heard.
Get to work! On stage, filling in for Charlie right after he died. And I had to go up to a university campus. And I'm sitting there, and there's 3,000 kids, and the majority of them are all cool. They might disagree here and there on different things. But there was a subset in there that was conservative, and it maybe was 5%, that was so unbelievably dangerous in their thinking. I walked off stage and I walked right to my security chief and I said, forget the left. I'm in these crowds all the time. And that's the kind of person that will kill me.
Again!
I walked off stage and I walked right to my security chief and I said, forget the left. I'm in these crowds all the time, and that's the kind of person that will kill me.
I was told that the right doesn't do that. I was told that the left is dangerous. This is what I was told.
Give a brother a break.
Oh, no, we not. I was told that the right got all the guns. Ain't nobody gonna mess with us. We law and order. We are victors. He next to Trump. It's the radical left. These were the lyrics I was told.
I told you punk ass niggas to get off the motherfucking timeline and rap. That's the problem. You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching. You niggas need to fucking rap. When you can't nobody else come up here if they not rapping like that. Stay your punk ass at home.
And the reason why I played that clip, because a couple months ago when I was going in on Candace Owens, when I said white conservatives deserve Candace Owens, and she was on Piers Morgan talked to Glenn Beck after she got off, pause, and he said basically the same thing. What he just said here. Talking about somehow he loved London. And I kept saying, then since you love London, why don't you just go do your show from there? Since you scared of what's going on over here, you sound soft. He just sounded soft again.
Why do you feel a necessity to
You're
insult
acting
people?
again.
Is that
Where's the script? Where's the script? Read the script.
Is this a big defensive thing that you've
Read
got?
the script.
Why don't you read your own script?
Get back to the script, Glenn.
We have to be careful. It's just beginning in the right, but it is everywhere.
It's just beginning in the right, even though this has been around since Lincoln, since Washington and them. What do you mean it's just now in the right? This is Bush. This is Bush. These are these old stupid ass boomers teaching their kids who was in elementary school. Now they done grown up and now they doing this. These were the ones that were born at the tail end of Bush's tenure. They're outside now. These are who you radicalized. When they were in elementary school, all they heard was Obama bad. Black people bad. Hate hoaxes. That's all they heard. Y'all radicalized these kids, not the left. You know what the left did with your kids? They took them to finishing school.
What the hell?
That's right. I said it. The right radicalized these kids and the left brought them to finishing school. That's how you got Tyler Robinson. I had to leave the seat. That's how y'all got drag queen story time.
You want some more?
Oh, we got more. That's why you got the economy you got.
You want some more?
We might have more. This is why you got a red and yellow thumb up your asses. And that red and yellow thumb was not Hogan, even though some of y'all would like it to be Hogan, like Andrew Tate over there talking about he would slam a transsexual Hulk Hogan. We talking about China.
Pause.
You want some more?
Oh, we got more. This is old boy down there in Athens dressing up like a Nazi. That's what you got.
You want some more?
Yeah, we got more. That's how you ended up with swastikas in Congress.
You want some more?
Yeah, we got more. This is how you ended up with January 6th.
You want some more?
We got more. This is how you ended up with No Kings protests, which were undercover January 6th riots. Oh, my Lord.
You want some more?
Yeah, we got more. That's how you got the Black Macacoon class now. They ain't got no friends now, so they out there crashing out, trying to get engagement on white posts, and them white folk coming up in there telling them how much of a Negro they are once again. Always got to be reminded.
You want some more?
Yeah, we got more. Glenn Beck, you, Tucker, Trump, and all the rest of them racist scumbags over there on the right saw this coming, but guess what? You saw more lefties coming over there who were racist, by the way. You didn't vet them. Hear me again. You didn't vet them, and you allowed them to come up in there and tell you how much they like Trump because he's bold and he says the things that you've never heard a politician say, even though you've heard politicians say some of this stuff before. But you got worked and you got some visibility and you accepted it. Now you have to accept it all the way, the good and the bad. This is what you cultivated.
You want some more?
You cultivated your children out here now, taking over the mantle from y'all, the menses and the women's, with the alcohol bottles in their hand, out here perverting the youth.
You want some more?
Yeah, we got more. This is y'all outside saying Hail Hitler. You may not say it yourself, but somehow, some way, your children found out about it and they thought it was a good idea.
You want some more?
Y'all deserve Zorhan Mandami. Y'all deserve the losses you're going to take next week. You deserve that. And I hope to God, when you guys get stomped, maybe that'll wake you up and realize that your strategy of just putting up stupid ass videos and memes and trying to signal boost influencers who don't have a clue about what's going on out here past their bank account, maybe you'll get back to policy. Because if you don't, 2026 is going to be a bloodbath. And guess what y'all are going to become? You're going to become lower than black people that y'all try to tell everybody that we're at the bottom. When in actuality, right now, black people are the most important people in this country.
You want some more? Do you? All right, bim, bam, boom. Somebody get this nigga out of my way.
The left. And it's, how do you, I mean, we're going to run out of time before people just start to say, kill them.
I don't disagree with you. What I do think has to happen is a isolation and a marginalizing of those voices And I'm not seeing that platformed on.
Oh, Julian, now you want to marginalize them voices when you had a decade to do it, but you didn't want to do it. Now they need to be marginalized. So they had a decade of power and now you want to marginalize them. What does that sound like, fam? Sounds like two things: censorship and something that the left would do.
Major shows, and I'm not for deplatforming, but let him have his own show on his channel. When you put him on big platforms, you're basically saying it's okay, and that does.
What the hell?
I actually
do the mathematics.
Yeah.
Math don't lie.
Oh, so now we're advocating not signal boosting people. Wow. We're hearing a lot, aren't we? The same things they told us to shut up about. When we tell them, stop platforming these stupid ass racists. Stop sharing their videos around. Stop saying that they're right because black people are pushing back on them. Now, all of a sudden, you see how much of a problem that is. Isn't that something? You created a wannabe. You know what they did? Fine, fuck it. I'm just going to say it. You know what they did? They created Akon City for themselves and realized now it's nothing but cardboard cutouts.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's perfect.
Yes, I said it. They created Akon City for themselves. That's why they call it Con Inc. And now all of a sudden they figured out, they went behind it and figured out it was just a wooden cutout. There's no substance there. There's no foundation. Jillian out here looking like Garth Knight when he was fighting Michael Knight in the desert. This is the problem right there. And you knew that. You didn't care though, because most of y'all were loser Z-list celebrities. And because Trump came around, you got to go to C grade. You became a bad Chinese restaurant instead of being a bad ghost kitchen. And now you're in trouble because the people you radicalized now hold all the power. They're younger, they think quicker, and now they're looking at you guys like the old farts. They're doing exactly what the left is doing. Pushing away the older class. It's our time to shine. I cannot wait for the right-wing wars. I can't wait for it.
Does worry me a little bit. And again, like, I hate to do that. I'm not for cancel culture. I wouldn't have him kicked off of YouTube or his own platform ever. But I also think there should be a healthy amount of shame in our culture and going after true racists and true anti-Semites
because they
and
exist.
true bigots that needs to be condemned.
Oh, Jillian. I'm glad you said that. So glad you said that. Huh. So, Jillian, let's ask the question then. What did you say about the group chat leaks? Quote unquote. What did you say? We looking. These are not liberals. Jillian Michaels laments how the modern left has abandoned traditional liberals like herself. I am terrified by what that is. Again, can I get an amen? Thank you, Jillian, for admitting that all y'all just grifted over to the right because you knew that's where the money was. Thank you for admitting that you're blue MAGA. You don't like it now, huh? Where are you, madam? Where is your thing about the group chat? Where is it? I'm looking. I don't see it. I'm just saying, I don't see it. Don't get upset now. See, we looking. It ain't there. They say you walked off set last month, huh? Okay. Say less. Huh. All right. That's what I thought. But there you go, fam. They just admitted it. It was cool until they went too far. Even though they had the signs knowing that they were going to go too far. Nasty. All right, I think we're done with MAGA. Let's get to AOC. Oh, I got a lot to say about that. Abatements only cost. I got a lot to say. Madam, let me holler at you. Now, for those who saw the live, I took it down because I wanted to talk about it here in greater length with the sound effects and all that. Ma'am, you know better. But sometimes I don't think you know better. I think you try to you try to you're doing the dumb griff. It don't work. The dumb griff has died. It died with Tommy Lahren. She's trying to keep it on life support. Crystal Ball gave her that work and basically killed it. It doesn't work. And what also doesn't work is you do not go in front of folk in this political and social climate, knowing what is out there in the ethos in terms of ethnic pride and delineation, and say the bullshit you're about to hear, family. You don't and say to folk, especially in a neighborhood like Forest Hills, Queens, that is mostly okay.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in
Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in
What the hell?
No. Bro, ain't no motherfucking way, bro. Ain't no motherfucking way.
Jews escaping Holocaust.
So you're telling me that, oh God. Okay, here we go. So you start off with them Jews. Okay. Not I hope she realized there were Jews here before the Holocaust. But okay. What exactly were they? I'm not talking about the ones for the Holocaust. What were the Jews beforehand? What were they running away from? I bet if I ask her that, she don't know. Bet you that.
Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow.
So you stumbled over slavery and Jim Crow because they ran. All the black folk ran to New York. They oh Lord. They didn't go to the upper Midwest. They didn't go out west. They didn't go down to Florida. They just all ran to New York because you heard that there's so many South Carolinians that went to New York. Okay. Continue. Yeah, y'all peeped the word fleeing, right? You peeped it. Because Black Americans were fleeing slavery and Jim Crow. They were fleeing it. They didn't just say, fuck this shit, I'm out. You consider that fleeing. Who is in your camp that be listening to black folks? Fleeing. Okay. That's what you consider fleeing.
Seeking a better life.
Latinos seeking a better life. They ran to New York. They didn't stay in the South. They didn't stay in Texas and the Southwest in California. Okay. All right. All right.
People standing for themselves.
Native American people standing for themselves. You mean when they were getting all them treaties? Oh. Okay. All right.
Asian Americans
Coming together? Whoa. Hey. Coming together? You mean the same Asian Americans who were doing affirmative action destruction? Them? We Oh, you gotta love the revisionist history she's trying to pull on these folks. And she knew what she was doing because she know most of that electorate is dumb. She knows that. And they were gonna give it away. Huh. So we're supposed to stand with this, right? We're supposed to stand with this, right? Let me know. This is what the Asian American community, this is what they were doing. They were running out getting legislation that only benefited them. They were the ones who propped up Stacey Abrams down here, and then the second they already knew how much of a snake she was, they still propped her up, thinking they was going to get something out of it. And then the second when they figured out they wasn't going to get nothing out of it, then they snaked her right back. And in the process of snaking her back by not coming out to vote for her, then had the nerve to go on TV with that Hollis dude talking about how much crime is in Buckhead. And I can't help but wonder, and I can't help but point out myself and TBA telling y'all that was all a lie. And here we are in 2025, because they said that late 2023, early 2024. And Buckhead ain't in the news like they thought it was. The crime in Buckhead ain't as big as you thought it was. And damn, black people still go to Buckhead. So which is it? Your businesses are failing because of the quote unquote crime rate in Buckhead, or is it because there's an economic problem here and people don't want to go all the way to Buckhead to go spend a whole bunch of money on some food or to have a good time? They can't do it like they used to. What is it? But y'all are supposed to be the smart ones.
Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten
Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, Asians really get in on Staten Island. Yeah, they really gonna let. We saw how they treated them Latinos when they were on Staten Island. We saw it. Huh. We saw how much y'all love them Latinos in the Bronx. Y'all are gentrifying them out. Huh. We saw how much y'all love black people. Y'all went and gentrified Jamaica, Queens. Especially them Caribbean folk, because that's who she was really talking about. She talking about some black Americans. She knew she couldn't say them Caribbeans. Them Caribbeans over there, they getting arrested left and right. And she said all this bullshit and then gonna jump right back on the Amtrak train, right back to DC. Because she already got her other half. Bye-bye, Instagram. It was fun. I can't stand this woman. I can't.
In this country, in Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow.
Don't you just love it that she got, I think these are the Sikhs, got them right up front. And them Latinos. Forest Hills, fam. Forest Hills.
Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan.
She over here getting her Howard Dean on. What are we doing? Northwest Queens, South Bronx. This is who you kept. Put it back in them C's. Look at it. By the way, screenshot. She even look like what she's saying is some bullshit. Always out clowning, always does this. Ma'am, you are not for the people. We know this. If you were for the people, guess what? You would have went for mayor, but we know you don't want to do that. We know it. It's actually a little bit less than being a politician out there in DC. But that's number one. But number two, you ain't got that heart to be seeing them New Yorkers every day. That's why you in DC. You ain't got that heart. You can run back to your district or run when they drop that check in your bag to go out there and just try to sound like a hyped up J-Lo. But to really look at them New Yorkers in the face every day, come on now. Come on now. We saw the town hall on CNN. It was terrible. It was a kiss ass fest. But that's okay. You cook Riley Gaines. You get a pass for about 2 days. Now, when Mondami wins next week, then you're going to come outside and start hyping up like you did something impressive. We know what the game is. You're trying to get him to Congress. That's the game. New York going to get worse. You better hope to God he does something positive that you could griff off for next year, or you're going to lose your seat. Shame. 25,000 jobs she got rid of because she couldn't Google something. She's a whole actress. But this is what y'all wanted. All right. You got it. All right. Anybody want to go cuss out MAGA or AOC or whoever the fuck? I don't care. We can cuss them out. There's the link. This politics is so much fun, but it could be draining at times. These motherfuckers are just, I don't know. Just out here lying to folk. I got something for this fool. They out here lying about that ballroom. By the way, they saying that Trump finna name it after himself. And if that's true, oh, now they changed it. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right.
Okay. With this government shutdown, with the food stamp, I just wanted to know: do you think a lot of these grocery stores are gonna get affected by this?
Yes,
and
because they make money off of it.
And if so, do you think let's say for instance it's just 1 month. Let's go down. Let me go forward. Let's say
This
it's
is
like
the wrong month for them to get hit with that.
Do what now?
This is the wrong month for them to get hit with that.
Oh, of course, because I talked to someone. Well, you know what I do, so I talked to the person in the back. She was like, they're trying to force a lot of stuff out, and they already know a lot of these people are not gonna buy this stuff.
Yeah, they already had out them turkeys 2 weeks early.
Yeah. And then they already talking about the food banks are running out of food.
Because they never get supplanted. They never get replenished.
Do you think that the government or Trump could give these businesses back pay? As basically a handout.
Who?
Well, let's go for Walmart, for example. If Walmart lose.
No, because they have stocks, and he's not gonna pay him.
You really think so?
I'm not gonna pay him. Why would he give Walmart a bailout?
I mean, let's just say they lose $1 billion. Let's say for next month, because of the food shopping, because Walmart is basically the biggest grocery retailer there is. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just say they lose $1 billion. You don't think Trump wouldn't give them money back? They wouldn't. If now I could see them asking. Shit.
Then that was this year.
God damn.
Walmart been losing money. Amazon cut into them. That's why Walmart started doing their own marketplace. They're trying to get into that Amazon realm. It's not working.
You mean with the pickup orders and stuff like? Well, not the pickup orders.
No, we're having small businesses on their website.
I got you now, but yeah, because I mean, I'm in that retail game, and we already gearing up for. Because usually we getting good money. We haven't been getting good money just this month. Over the last couple of months, it ain't been good for us right now.
It ain't good for nobody.
Yeah, so when
people already saying they're gonna have an easy Christmas this year. They're not thinking about Thanksgiving. They already talking about there ain't gonna be no family gatherings this year. People be like, well, I can't afford it.
Yeah, that was the same thing for Christmas. Like, I can't afford nothing. I mean, it's either gonna be groceries or it's gonna be gifts. Can't do both. That's how I understand it. Some people don't got it. And whoever, and some of y'all, hold on, let me say this. Why are y'all going out there telling the internet what you finna do? Unless you just want clout. Why? I don't understand people. Well, if I don't get my food stamps, I'm gonna go steal. Why would you go tell everybody that?
Because it's a grift.
Oh my God, the grill. Oh my goodness. Attention is a hell of a drug. That's all I can say on that one.
Wait till TikTok change their algorithm.
What, next year?
Oh, January 1st.
Algorithm for just in general?
No, because they sold it.
Oh yeah.
The American algorithm finna change. You just wait.
And what's the algorithm gonna be like? Do you know, or do you just gonna take a guess?
It's gonna be pro-Israel. It's gonna be pro-Trump. It's not. It's gonna suppress a lot of the big accounts. unless they're in bed with somebody. Yeah.
What about like the dance stuff?
Unless it's new, it's gonna get suppressed.
Yeah, I can see that because all that old stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you see. Oh, did you see that story come out of California about that immigrant that plowed into the traffic?
Blue checks going away? No.
What, on TikTok or on
Anywhere? They're not going away.
But Twitter's still paying all them folks all that money. So how are they going to not pay all these folks that money?
But you gotta remember, TikTok's different. People have their businesses on there.
I mean, I can understand TikTok, but more so Twitter when you got.
Oh no, he changing that next year. Oh no, that's gone next year. They've already said it. The model is not sustainable.
Oh yeah,
which I told them that 2 years ago, but they didn't want to listen. I said it's not going to last. Especially when he changed it, it said, "Oh, you could griff off somebody's post." Yeah, that's not going to work. You just got people in there be like, "Yes," and they getting tens of thousands of views. Then they try to sit up there and lie, talking about something. Oh, well, I don't get paid that much for posting. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're still getting something off of it, and you've got millions of accounts doing that. He can't pay all y'all out.
Yeah, because he don't have the money. Plus, you lose the money with Tesla.
Yeah, that thing going next year.
I just thought about. I saw a blue hybrid truck. That shit was ugly as hell. Not blue, black, and I like the color black, and it was still ugly. I wanted to go wreck that some bitch, but I was like, nah, I don't work.
Tesla hasn't recovered since 2023.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I want to ask you. So I appreciate your dedication to excellence.
There you go. There you go. He had to shut. He should have just shut his fucking mouth. But everybody want to be everybody. Okay, there you go. That's what you get. Have fun. Yes, sir. Hello.
Can you hear me, bro?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Appreciate you having.
I think your connection
commentary.
Yeah, your connection's bad.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go out and try to come back and see if that fits.
Okay. There you go. Oh, look. Hey, Torian, if you're still here, there go your boy. So, okay, so AOC told her maybe if you use that anger, you might have done better. That pissed you off. I tell you, boy. He said that she never complained about losing the race. What are you talking about? That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm so serious. You know what would make Amazon sweat if you stop shopping on Amazon, spend locally, but you won't do that because your Amazon Prime membership means that much to you. I mean, yeah. Yeah. What's this? Oh, that's the one? God, dog. All right. So, hey, MAGA, why y'all not outside? I'm just saying, why y'all not outside? Y'all should be having that man name in there. What's this? Brett Hankinson is sitting in solitary confinement and needs our help. He was one. What? Huh? Torian. Oh no. No, he need to sit there. Why do you need to get him out of prison? Do you see this? No accountability. He can't sit in solitary confinement. Are you serious? He can't be serious. You gotta love these folk. Yes, sir.
Are we live?
Yes.
All right. Hopefully my connection is a lot better. My Wi-Fi 6 was like Wi-Fi 3. Anyways, yeah. So here in Columbus, they're already boarding up the Dollar Generals and Family Trees and everything. Like, put out some citywide. Make sure y'all board up your stores. We're anticipating citywide looting come November 1st. I don't know. So they're out here putting it in the air, while if you look around, the people here aren't necessarily panicked. There's plenty of food banks and stuff out this way, but that's besides the point. They are doing stuff like that actively here in Columbus, boarding up stores. I was walking by the Dollar General this morning. They're out there putting big plywoods in front of the windows and all that stuff. So, but going back to something you had mentioned earlier in your broadcast, you were talking about possibly 2 weeks an embroiled conflict with Argentina. I was listening to Scott Ritter 2 days ago, and he was saying basically the same thing. He said, but he says, it may escalate sooner than that. And he says, I have the suspicion that Russia's going to pull up at some point in the next 2-3 days. And I was just looking at the news earlier. Yeah, they pulled up. They pulled up. I was like, oh shit.
No, they're already there.
So you think two? Yeah, they're already there. So you think 2 weeks? I'm thinking sooner. I mean,
they're gonna let the Argentina thing die down first.
You think? Okay.
Yeah. Maduro already told them to fuck off. But here's the problem, and again, this is Western media not telling folk what the real story is. BRICS is Venezuela's under BRICS control. They're not telling them that. So you go in there and try to fuck with them. They're gonna be Chinese forces up in there. There's gonna be Russian forces up in there.
Right. Now you've been breaking down BRICS for what, 2 years now, or what, year and a half now? I guess as it's been 3. Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So as this you said, don't sleep on the advancement of what they're doing on that side. So I mean that confirms pretty much the development that as more people continue to leave the security of the United States failing dollar and look for other alternatives, I was thinking possibly just because of the trigger happy drunk we have at the Department of Defense, that something may escalate a lot sooner. But I don't know. I just wanted to hear your commentary on that.
We are so under control of BRICS. It's scary that when it really comes out, y'all gonna be like, well, how the hell did this happen? This has been in the works since Biden. This has actually been in the works since Obama. But they let them think that we still have power. Power was shifting. It didn't wake them up when when Biden was in office and they got Saudi Arabia. It didn't click in nobody's mind that the game was over. That's why he ran over there to go get that extra 600 million.
Right.
Well, 600.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Like a prostitute.
Yep. All right. Thank you, brother. Mm-hmm. Oh, but I think we got high price prostitutes.
Yeah. Now Canada meeting Canada meeting with Xi on Thursday.
My goodness. Anyways, hold the line, folks. We're gonna make it through this, and thank you, KG. I appreciate your commentary, man. Jump in the chat.
All right, before we go, I'm finna let this play, and then we gonna get out of here. So hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. I'll see you when I see you. I'll probably see you later tonight when we premiere that video. You're gonna love it. And then yeah. Y'all take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence.
This is what Trump's main job is. Because look, for example, drill, baby, drill, right? Make America energy self-sufficient, et cetera, et cetera. Fire up all of the dormant oil wells and so forth in West Texas and so on. While simultaneously asking OPEC to lower oil prices, which of course means asking OPEC to increase production. Okay. The way that goes is increase production by OPEC. And if they do it by the US as well, okay, then the oil price drops and cheap oil floods the market out of sync with demand, driving the price down even further. Now the price is too low for it to even be profitable for American producers to drill, to refine, or to extract. You understand? American oil producers need for oil to be at a minimum of $40 per barrel for it to even be worth it. For it to even be worth it to drill and extract and refine and so forth. Meanwhile, OPEC can still make a profit at just $10 a barrel. So you understand, America cannot play the oil game with OPEC. OPEC has the capacity to ramp up oil production if they want to, anytime they want to. They can ramp up oil production. They can increase production to a level within just 90 days that America couldn't reach even in 5 years. In other words, OPEC can decimate the American oil and gas sector anytime they want. The only reason they don't do that is because they want to maintain price stability for their own benefit, for their own reasons. They would rather have oil at $70 a barrel or $100 a barrel rather than $10 a barrel. So they choose to allow America to stay in the game. That's the only reason. But if you're going to ramp up oil production on your end, well, then you better hope that OPEC responds by cutting production on their end just to stabilize the price. Because if they don't, if they respond in kind and they do what you do, and they also ramp up oil production, and then they drive the price of oil down to their minimum profit level, well, that will nuke America's whole oil industry. Plants, drilling sites, refineries, all of that's going to shut down. Tens of thousands of jobs will just disappear overnight. And for every one job in the oil and gas sector, there's at least 2 or 3 jobs that are indirectly related to that. So you were looking at potentially hundreds of thousands of jobs lost by drill, baby, drill. Not to mention, when that happens, no one in the private sector is going to invest in the oil sector anymore. So you see, no more exports to Europe, no more exports anywhere, no more oil exports, energy exports. Meanwhile, you're going to abandon renewable energy, clean energy, and so on. The Green New Scam, as Trump says, he's very much against that. And at the same time, you have the UAE and you have Saudi Arabia investing hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S. In energy-intensive businesses in the United States. I mean, Trump said it himself. If oil companies drill themselves out of business, I don't give a damn. That's what he said. So you see how the rhetoric, how the marketing actually sells the opposite of what the policy outcome is actually going to be. I don't think for a second that Trump doesn't know that. I think he knows that. No one who's putting these policies in place doesn't know what the outcomes will be. And that's why the policies are being pursued, because they want to achieve those outcomes, those very outcomes. But you can't sell that to the electorate. You can't tell the American people, you know, we, your private sector overlords, are no longer tied to the success or the prosperity or the stability of the American economy. We have global interests, not national interests. And so we've decided to drive the U.S. into energy bankruptcy as quickly as possible. And maybe then we can sell all of America's oil and gas assets to Saudi Arabia or to China or what have you for pennies. You can't tell the American people that. So instead, you say, Trump says, we're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, you know, better, stronger, faster than anyone. We're going to produce more oil than anyone else in the world, and so on and so on and so on. We're number one, you know, and everyone cheers. Everyone applauds while the oxygen is being drained from the room. And let me tell you, that's exactly what's going on. The last time Trump was in office, Saudi Arabia and Russia collaborated to flood the global oil market during COVID-19, no less. And the U.S., under Trump, the U.S., the media, portrayed this as a price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia. But it was transparently done. It was transparently undertaken by Russia and Saudi Arabia, specifically to undermine the American oil sector, the American oil industry. It completely crashed the oil price, making oil production completely unviable for the U.S., for U.S. producers, okay? Trump had good relations with Russia. He had good relations with Saudi Arabia, still does. And I think it's fair to say that this was a 3-way collaboration, not just between Russia and Saudi Arabia. Trump was involved. And now Trump already wants to do it again within his first week in office. I don't think OPEC is going to go along with it, to be honest. Not right now. Why should they? You said drill, baby, drill, so you go ahead and do that. You go ahead. You drill. But we are not going to initiate a crash in the oil price. We need the money right now. We have projects. So you have to take Trump seriously, but never at his word. Never take him literally, but do take him seriously, because he's a mascot for a faction of power that needs to be taken very seriously. The A National OCGFC, owners and controllers of global financialized capital. They're essentially the real unipolar superpower of the world. And Trump is their hatchet man in America. Now, generally speaking, this is going to be very good for the Muslim world. Generally speaking, it's going to be good for the Muslim world and the global South more broadly. Yes, it is. But I know that things are going to get very hard for you in the US. Things are going to get very hard for you in the West overall. Now, most people around the world in the global South, they'll react to that news the same way that someone would react to hearing about a serial killer getting shanked in prison. You know, he had it coming. That's how most people feel, to be honest. But I know that most people in the West already have it hard. I know that most people in the West are actually already suffering. And I know what it's like to live in America. It's not easy. And I know that just because the consequences that you may suffer may be the result of your own actions, that doesn't make the consequences any easier to endure. I know it's going to be hard, especially when you're suffering the consequences of actions that were taken by your elites, not necessarily the actions of the common people. So I know this is hard to take, and it's going to be hard to take. Now, again, let me reiterate, this is not about Trump. It's not about Trump. The isolation, the degradation of America was going to happen anyway. It had to happen. This is just the necessary course of the logic of Western predatory capitalism. Just like Gorbachev wasn't really the one who destroyed the Soviet Union, he just oversaw the inevitable destruction, self-destruction of the Soviet Union because it had run its course. America has run its course. And when I say Western predatory capitalism, those adjectives are important because it's not even really about capitalism in and of itself. It really mostly has to do with the culture and the civilizational peculiarities of the West. They don't act like that because of capitalism. Their capitalism acts like this because of the way they are. You understand? And in fact, it's because of the way they are. In fact, it's because of the way they are that they even approach capitalism, trade, and so forth, and business the way they do. Their particular version of capitalism. And it's because of them, and because of the way they are, because of their approach to capitalism, that the A National OCGFC even are a thing. And it's also because of this that their own societies are now on the chopping block. It's because of the way they are. But that's a topic for another day. The point is, this is something that has to happen. It's something that has to happen. It's something that had to happen. It's something that will happen. And it's going to happen, no matter what. No matter whether it's Trump or anyone else. Anyone who says, for example, well, that's what you get for voting for Trump, you know, or you should have voted for Harris. Well, I mean, you're so thoroughly indoctrinated and participating in the deception and the deflection of that system that you yourself are just as much a cause for the collapse of the United States as anyone else that you blame for it. You know, you created a class of A-national elites, oligarchical elites, whose private profit interests are no longer connected to your own economy. You did that. They're not connected to any productive activity. They're not connected to any nationality. They're not connected to your standard of living, not to your stability, not to your safety, your prosperity, your success as a nation, or anything. And that class of private sector powers became essentially a nation unto themselves, like I've said many times. A nation that transcends borders. It transcends national interests. They don't have any interests except their own interests. You created that, and you celebrated that, in fact. You still celebrate it, never realizing that they would inevitably sacrifice you for their own profit interests, the same way that they've sacrificed millions of people outside your country. You know, you created this psychopathic class of predators. And you expected them to never bite the hand that feeds them, even though the hand that feeds them has always been feeding them hands. You know, now they can't tell the difference between the food and the feeder anymore. It's all just flesh to them. You can't raise a wolf on human flesh and expect him to distinguish between the human you are feeding him from the human who is feeding him. Eventually, he doesn't see you as his master or his owner anymore. He only sees you as food. Well, you raised the wolf on the flesh of the global South, and it turns out you taste just the same. Yes, wolves don't care if it's dark meat or light meat. They'll chew you up either way. Look, for decades, the military-industrial complex, the MIC, in America, it was a towering giant in America, in the U.S. It was the driver of the economy. They shaped policies at home and abroad. But today, there's a decline in its dominance, and that's been coming for a while. It's no longer the sole engine of the American economy. It's no longer the most important engine of the economy or the global economy. Now, this change wasn't due to any great moral awakening or some newfound sense of conscience. No, it's the result of systemic shifts within the American economy, popular fatigue over endless wars, corruption and fraud within the military-industrial complex, and of course the rise of the A-National OCGFC. The U.S. economy has diversified. I mean, decades ago, in the 50s, say, weapons and military technology was central for America's economic growth. But today, other industries, technology, finance, obviously healthcare, and so on, it surpasses that. And of course, globalization shifted the focus from building tanks and jets to dominating digital platforms, international markets, and so on. Then came the end of the Cold War. The end of the Cold War was the big shift when the Soviet Union collapsed. Then the supposed existential threat that justified the immense military budgets and spending and so on, that disappeared. That threat disappeared. I mean, you tried to come up with new threats, terrorism, war on drugs, what have you, but none of these threats really could justify the scale of investment that was needed to keep the military-industrial complex, influential. And like I said, the public became tired of wars in the 2000s. Iraq, Afghanistan, it drained the American public, emotionally, financially, politically, and people began to question the wisdom of pouring trillions and trillions of dollars into conflicts that only ever resulted in spreading chaos and destruction. Not to mention, you have rampant fraud and corruption in the military-industrial complex. You have overcharging, you have magically disappearing funds, that were handed over to defense contractors. They've misplaced enough money. The military-industrial complex, defense contractors, have misplaced enough money to house every homeless person in America and educate every child. They charge so much for one weapon that China could probably build a dozen for the same price. I mean, if the military-industrial complex has been the vehicle that carried the American economy, well, it sure isn't a fuel-efficient vehicle. It's a gas guzzler. And of course, you can barely get anyone anymore in America, young people, what have you, who are willing to put on a uniform and fight for this money laundering scam. That's all it is. That's all it is at this point. I mean, you want to send your sons and your daughters to go die in a foreign country for Raytheon? That's what they're doing. They're not fighting for democracy. They're fighting for General Dynamics. Well, nobody wants to do that. How are you going to convince anyone that they're fighting for democracy 6,000 miles away from their own crumbling neighborhood in New York, and their neighborhood is crumbling because all of their tax money is going to Lockheed Martin? You can't convince people to fight for that. You can't. So then, because your pool of soldiers is shrinking, then you have to start changing your approach to killing and carnage. You have to start changing your means of destruction, because you can't really do traditional warfare anymore. You had to develop new technologies, which means that the demand for conventional weapon systems, which the military-industrial complex was based upon, that's given way to focus on drones and cyber capabilities and artificial intelligence and so on and so on and so on. So the MIC hasn't disappeared, but its form and its scale has changed. And part of that, too, is because America started moving manufacturing overseas, globalization and so on. And in order for the military-industrial complex to really maintain its importance, well, domestic manufacturing was key. Domestic manufacturing was key. But pretty soon, more and more companies were keeping their toothbrushes and their shampoo in somebody else's house. And you know what that means. America went from being the wife of corporations to being the side chick. See, again, because you had to change how you go about killing people, rather than learning how to get along with people, you had to come up with new technology. And that new technology depends upon electronics, which means rare earths. But we're talking about private corporations, talking about profit-driven corporations. So all they care about is money. All they care about is low-cost acquisition. And China flooded the market with cheap rare earths, which caused the market price to plummet. And that put rare earths mines out of business. You see how that works? Just like I was talking about with oil. So now China controls about 80% of the world's rare earths market and 90% of the processing. Think about that. The American military is completely dependent upon Chinese rare earths. You talk about confronting China, but they can shut you down in 3 seconds if they want to. This is what I mean. You literally created this situation for yourselves, and it has nothing to do but play out now. It's inevitable course. It has to just play out. You gave private enterprise absolute autonomy, absolute supremacy, and that included sectors within the military-industrial complex. Your MIT-driven ideological obsession with the Soviets led you to engage with China, and then China opened up. And then you very quickly became dependent upon them. And they have surpassed you to a stunning degree in manufacturing and in technology. And now you can't even make a drone without China. You can't even make a drone. And you need drones because you don't have soldiers. You see? You've been doing nothing for decades now but cultivate your own demise. It's really quite poetic in a way. And in this whole process, like I said, your rich, your companies, your elites are increasingly untethered from your national interests. And now they're floating above the stratosphere, the stratosphere of global financialized capital, and they're looking down and they see America as just another landmass, just another population to be pillaged. And so as the MIC recedes, other factions have risen in prominence. At the forefront, of course, is big tech, which emerged from the military-industrial complex, like companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, and so on. These aren't just businesses anymore. Those are oligarchical political powers. They dominate global markets. They shape cultures. They influence politics. They influence politics in ways that the MIT never could even have dreamt of. I mean, they control the flow of information. They control communication. They're gatekeepers of knowledge and power now. They're massive. And then there's, of course, financialization. This is very important. The financial sector not only shapes economic policy, but it exerts immense political influence as well. I mean, the 2008 financial crisis showed us that Wall Street's too big to fail. And since 2008, their grip has only expanded and tightened. I mean, even those tech giants, Google, Apple, and so on, a huge amount of their wealth is actually due to financialization, not sales, not ad revenues. It's through financialization. So basically fake money. Then, of course, there's the healthcare and the pharmaceutical sectors. Big pharma is massive and obviously incredibly influential politically, as we all saw during COVID. Okay, these are all a-national, along with things like construction and mining and so on, subcategories. And they're all corralled together. All of these diverse business interests, they're all corralled together in asset management firms like BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard. Those three companies constitute what you could call universal owners. They don't operate according to any one country's interests. They don't operate according to any one company's interests. They operate according to the combined interests of international economic sectors. They're the first C in the OCGFC, the owners and controllers of global financialized capital. They're the controllers on behalf of the owners of capital. And they have the reach, and they have the portfolios, and they have the power to coordinate and to orchestrate economic planning across the globe on behalf of the vast array of investors. They control literally trillions of dollars. And they're connected to sovereign wealth funds around the world that gives them influence and access to trillions more. They dwarf the military-industrial complex in this regard, particularly since the primary source of money for the military-industrial complex is the American government, which is extremely constraining for them. That's very limiting for them. Asset management companies, they don't have that restriction. So yes, this is the faction that Trump represents. And you'll see that all of his policies serve that faction. I've said this before. You have to look past all of the MAGA rhetoric, all of the nationalist rhetoric, because all of that is all just a camouflage for what will be the shrinkage of America on the global stage and what will be the ransacking of the U.S. economy. It's like if a snake oil salesman was selling cyanide instead of snake oil. That's what Trump is doing. Like, for example, okay, I've already talked about how his energy policy, how that puts the U.S. on a path to energy bankruptcy, not self-sufficiency. And it will only strengthen OPEC, by the way. But also look at withdrawing from the WHO. Okay, American pharmaceutical companies and healthcare providers, insurance companies, and so on, they're expressing concern and disapproval for what he did, for pulling out of the WHO. But who benefits from that? The beneficiaries are going to be all of the so-called emerging economies, emerging markets, and their healthcare providers, their pharmaceutical companies, their insurers, and so forth. They're hindered right now by patent protections, by regulatory restrictions, and policies against, especially against generic drug production and so on. India and China, for example. This is very important for them. So this is actually the sidelining of America. And of course, the same is true, of course, obviously with tariffs. You know, basically everything that Trump proposes or promises or wants to do, all of it amounts to shutting America off from the world and directing everybody elsewhere, you know, telling all business to go elsewhere. The only place he approaches with open hostility, you know, from a policy point of view, the only place he approaches with any hostility is Europe and other Western countries, other allies. I mean, he might be serious about trying to take control of the Panama Canal. He might be serious about that. But I think that mostly has to do with just confirming that America is only going to be interested in having influence in the Western Hemisphere, in the global North. But I mean, even that, okay, even that, when you weigh the costs of maintenance of the Panama Canal, management, staff, security, and so forth, repairs, and on, everything that America would have to spend in order to control the Panama Canal, well, the net profit is barely going to be $1 billion annually. That's assuming that the trade flows through the Panama Canal remain as they are, which, given Trump's obsession with tariffs and his obsession with alienating global business from doing business with America, it seems likely that trade through the Panama Canal will actually decrease. So frankly, taking control of the Panama Canal will most likely end up costing America considerably more than they'll ever profit from it. It's the same with Greenland, really. You know, I mean, given how disruptive and how alienating it would be for America to actually force Denmark to sell them Greenland, you know, plus the amount of investment that they would have to put in, the initial cost and the investment and taking over services and so on inside of Greenland. Even with Greenland's natural resources, the U.S., I think, would be lucky to break even. I mean, that's if we take it seriously in the first place. Like I said, nothing Trump says should ever be taken at face value. He never means anything that he says. His public positions are always either bargaining tactics or just sheer misdirections. Both Panama and Greenland, and the idea of Canada becoming an American state, all of these are just moves in my opinion, to try to estrange allies and isolate the U.S. as much as possible. That's what I think he's doing. And I think that that is the desired outcome. That's the real desired outcome, which is why I think it's a serious mistake to ever think that any politician's rhetoric about why a policy is being pursued is the actual reason the policy is being pursued, whether it's Trump or anyone else. It's not, this isn't unique to Trump, because you always have people saying that, like, even analysts, well, that policy didn't work out as planned. Wow, that really backfired, and so on, because the outcome was not the outcome that was outlined by the original rhetoric. No, the outcome was exactly as desired. The rhetoric was the lie. It seems like this should be a basic understanding that people should have. That you have people, like I said, even analysts, saying, like, for example, the sanctions against Russia appear to have backfired. They seem to have actually hurt Europe more than Russia. Who knew? Of course they hurt Europe more than Russia. That was obvious. And that was the intention all along. This is especially true when the outcome is predictable, and especially true when the outcome is actually predicted. When you have a predictable and predicted outcome, when that occurs, you should obviously deduce that that was the goal from the outstart. But the negative policy outcome, the desired negative policy outcome, is never going to be stated as the desired outcome, obviously. Like I said, you can't sell that to the public. So, for example, with the oil thing, Trump can say that he wants the price of oil to be reduced in order to cripple Russia. But when a reduced oil price actually cripples American oil producers, and predictably so, well, that was the whole point of the policy. And it isn't the policymakers who are foolish. You're the fool for believing their rhetoric and for thinking that somehow the predicted outcome won't occur. So like I said, Trump, for example, is not anti-China. Putting tariffs on Chinese goods is anti-American, not anti-China. But again, this isn't about Trump. I don't want to keep making it about Trump. The containment of America was always going to happen, like I said. And in fact, it's been happening, incrementally, gradually. It's been happening for quite some time. But the process is accelerating. But nothing was ever going to prevent it in reality. I mean, the rise of BRICS is not an uprising. This has to be understood. This has to be understood. It's a relative rise being facilitated by the A-National OCGFC through several strategies, which includes deliberately expediting America's decline. This is not a revolution. It's a transition. And it is a managed transition. The sort of leftist, anti-imperialist rhetoric on the issue of BRICS is inaccurate to some extent, I think. And I think it's crucial for us to understand this properly. Multipolarity would be great if a private sector unipolar power did not exist, but it does. And multipolarity and national sovereignty means something very different to that unipolar superpower than it does to the nations of the global south. To the BlackRocks of the world, to the state streets and so on, multipolarity and national sovereignty means compartmentalized, vulnerable countries, most of whom have national economies that are a fraction of BlackRock's assets, meaning they are susceptible to coercion, they're susceptible to bribery, manipulation, and exploitation. Yes, the A-National OCGFC are just as vicious and just as predatory as the nationalistic OCGFC. They don't care about BRICS. They don't care about the global south. They care about market domination. That's all. And it just so happens that the global south is the most important market of the 21st century. They're not coming to help us. They're coming to help themselves. And everyone should be very clear about that. And that's why I think that no one should ever talk about multipolarity without also talking at the same time about solidarity. And you shouldn't even talk about pan-Arabism or pan-Africanism or pan-Islamism or anything like that. You should only talk about pan-Southism, if anything, because the entire global south needs to work together, from Chile to Indonesia, from Saudi Arabia to South Africa, from Brunei to Belize. Okay, regional blocks, sure. ASEAN, the Arab League, the OIC, the African Union, the OAS, and so on. Yes. But all of these blocks need to be linked together. They need to be linked together, they need to coordinate, and they need to fortify each other. And we have to have protections against the very OCGFC whom we are partnering with, because even though it is necessary to partner with them, and it is strategic to partner with them, they're like Banu al-Nadir. They're like Banu Qurayza. They're like Abdullah bin Ubay. When they smile at us, it's not because they're happy to see us, it's because they're getting ready to bite. They'll pat you on the back just to practice stabbing you there. All they're waiting for is opportunity. This is another practical reason, aside from the religious imperative. There's another practical reason for supporting and backing up our rulers, backing up our governments in the Muslim world. Because if they fall, if our governments fall, if they get toppled, or if they get destabilized by internal unrest and strife and so on, well, the A-National OCGFC will just turn BRICS into a new platform for colonization and subjugation. And that glimmer of hope that we're all seeing right now for real independence, for real sovereignty, and for the potential of a systemic global change in the economy and politics and so on, that'll get snuffed out. We're wrestling right now for control over the BRICS project to make it truly what we all hope it is, or what we hope it can be, what we know it can be. And the owners and controllers of global financialized capital, they're doing their best, and they're going to do their best to try to shatter that, believe me. Not so that they can keep the West on top. They don't care about keeping the West on top, but they want to make sure that they themselves are on top of the West and the global South. This, again, is why I keep emphasizing the importance, the grave importance of solidarity between the rank and file, average, struggling people in the West, the struggling people of America, the so-called minorities in America, the members of the global majority who live in America. The need for solidarity between them and the people of the global South, between them and the people of the Muslim world, because we've been colonized, and you're going to be colonized. And our struggle against colonization isn't over here. It's not over. It's just in a new phase. You know, we've made it across the battlefield, but now we're making our way through a minefield. You know, over there in America, in the West, you're going to turn into a battlefield. That's the stage that you're at now. Our history with the West is going to repeat itself in the West. You know, you're like an old predator who has become prey for his own offspring. Like I said, they're coming to you. Your offspring is coming to you. And you think that there's still some familial affection between you. So you're glad to see them. And you think it's going to be like the old days when you used to hunt together. That's the way Trump is selling it to you. Because selling it to you that way is his whole job. But they're coming to hunt you, not to hunt with you. So you need solidarity with the global South. And as I've said before, especially about African Americans, but really it applies to all so-called minority groups in America. And in fact, it applies to every so-called race and so-called ethnicity in America who are struggling economically. You know, you live really, in reality, you live just the same. You struggle just the same as the people of the global South. You know, 22% of Americans are barely covering their basic needs. And 65% of Americans, low-income Americans, they're in a constant state of worry and a constant state of anxiety about being able to pay their bills, their necessary bills. At least 10% of Americans are in persistent poverty. So low-income, struggling, working-class populations living in America, if they were their own country, they would apply for BRICS. They would apply to join BRICS, you know. If your situation was your citizenship, for tens of millions of Americans, you would be living in a developing country. If your situation was your citizenship. And I'm telling you, only your situation actually matters. They want your citizenship to make you forget about the situation that you're in. The situation that the country of your citizenship put you in. They want you to forget that you're poor. Just by telling you that you live in the richest country on earth. Never mind that the country doesn't have riches. It has some rich people in the country, but increasingly even those rich people don't identify with the country itself anymore. And Donald Trump is just one of those rich people. I'm telling you, millionaires and billionaires ought to be regarded as foreigners. They ought to be regarded as foreigners in America and everywhere else. But they shouldn't even be allowed to hold office, in my opinion, because they actually belong to a different nation than the rest of the people. They truly do. They belong to the nation of wealth. They're a-national. They have nothing in common with you and I. I mean, how many of those celebrities whose mansions were burned down in Hollywood, how many of those people are in shelters right now? How many of them are even homeless at all? I mean, what would you do if your house burned down? If your home burned down? Do you have a helicopter that will whisk you away to your other home? You understand what I'm saying? These are people who have no stake whatsoever in your and my well-being. They have no stake in the well-being of the economy of the country. They have no stake in that because they've got theirs. They're covered. They've got theirs. It doesn't matter to them one way or the other what happens to America. It truly doesn't. And they're going to sell you out. They're going to sacrifice you. You know, the ship is sinking and they're already on the life rafts on their way to Dubai. You know, somebody said with the mass deportations Trump is doing, that's going to leave all of these manual labor jobs without workers. Well, who do you think is going to do that work now? Who do you think is going to have to do all of those jobs that migrant workers have been doing for next to nothing? It's you. It's you. That's the new gig economy. Picking fruit, washing dishes, cleaning hotel rooms, day labor, landscaping. Oh, did you think that they were telling you that you don't need college or that college is pointless because of neo-Marxist postmodernism and critical race theory? Is that what you thought? Turns out it was because they didn't want you to be overqualified to pick oranges. They didn't want you to think that you were too good to work at a warehouse. They didn't want you to assume that you could make a livable income on just one job instead of 2 or 3. See, the people on the upper decks of the ship, they know that the ship is sinking long before the people in the steerage. And they have first access to those lifeboats. So the elites have known for quite some time that America is going under. And they've already made their plans. They've already made their arrangements. And they made very different arrangements for you. You've been slotted to go down with the ship. That's in America and it's in Europe as well. And some of you have actually allowed yourselves to believe, you know, when you see the people rowing away in the life rafts, you believe when they tell you that you'll be safer, you'll be safe from the flood, you'll be safe from drowning if you stay in the belly of that ship. I told you, you'll have to always read them backwards. Always play them in reverse. You have to play them in reverse. And then you'll know what they're really saying. Here, we'll practice. Make America great again.
There is a
Oh, here it goes!
Time's up.
Get your ass up! We gotta get out of here now!
But did we have a good time here? Hello?
Gotta get your groove on.
At the end of the day gotta end.
That's it.